Hello my frugal friends, welcome back to our place. Today I'm going to do a recap on our first week of our Frugal February challenge. If you guys didn't check out Wednesday's video, it does go into all the details about basically my plan for the month of February. But in a nutshell, I have set myself the challenge to rein in our family's grocery budget. I'm aiming for $25 per person per week, which is giving our family a total of $75 a week to spend on food. But on top of that, what I'm also trying to do is use up the things that I already have on hand in my fridge, freezer and pantry, and I'm using up those things each week, as well as allowing myself to spend somewhere between sort of $50 and $75 at the supermarket. Obviously, the lower that I can go, the more money that I can save, which is, at the end of the day, the aim of the game. So, if you'd like to get all the deets on what I'm trying to do and why I'm trying to do it, I will leave Wednesday's video linked down below. You can go and check that out. Today, I'm going to do a recap on how we went for our first week, and I'm going to show you some of the meals that we created. Now, first up, I am just going to say that it would be really difficult to show you guys every single meal that we ate for an entire week and have a relatively short and a video that people would actually want to view. I mean, I could film it, but this thing's going to be like 3 hours long, and nobody wants to sit through that. So we are going to do a bit of a highlight. And the other thing that I will say is that we do eat a lot of repetitious meals. So breakfast is usually the same sort of thing. We eat a lot of oats. So we're going to do overnight oats, or in the case of this week, because it was quite hot, we did do quite a few smoothies using up some of the frozen fruit that we had in the freezer. So I was using frozen fruit that I already had, milk that I bought, and oats that I bought, and that's what we were doing for smoothies. Overnight oats, the same sort of thing, just a different combination. Same ingredients, just presented in a slightly different way. So here's a bit of a quick look at some of the breakfasts that we did. Breakfast this morning is lazy overnight oats, because I didn't actually make them last night, but basically if you just let them sit for about half an hour, it still works. So I've got half a cup of oats in here, just quick oats, about 2 teaspoons of chia seeds, and I'm going to go in and add some soy milk. And I'm actually going to add a little bit of lemon juice, which is really nice. It sort of brightens it up, freshens it up. Yogurt would be super great with this as well, but I don't have any, so I think I'm just going to top it with some of the tinned peaches that I bought, which I haven't got out yet. Charlotte is having another smoothie for breakfast. She's really enjoying those at the moment. Just using up some of the frozen fruit we've had. And Shane looks like he's already had his breakfast down there. He was organised and made overnight oats last night. Good on him. I wasn't that organised. All right, that's 15 minutes later, just sitting in the fridge. So your overnight oats don't actually need 8 hours, 15, 20 minutes, and you're good to go. So if you're like me and you have a fairly slow morning and you like to just sit down and have a cup of tea or something before you eat, you can always make your overnight oats first thing in the morning and just let them sit in the fridge until you're ready. So I'm going to just pop a couple of bits of peaches on top of mine, and there's breakfast. And I do this a fair bit, so it's probably going to be my breakfast for most of this challenge. All right, our lunches, a lot of the time what we do is leftovers. That's just how we roll. It's quite easy to make a bigger batch of dinner and then just have that left over for lunch the next day. So I'm going to focus mainly on showing you guys what we did for dinner, because pretty much breakfast and lunch kind of took care of itself. So why don't we wind the clock back? We'll go back to the start of the week, and I'll show you what we did on Monday. Dinner tonight is hopefully going to be very easy and straightforward. I'm going to do the coconut rice and lentils with some green beans and some carrots. The aim is to do a double batch until we've got lunch ready to go tomorrow. It's really quick, pretty straightforward. There isn't a lot to it, but it is super yummy. So let's jump in and start prepping. So I have a couple of cups of beans there. It's a little bit less than half of my bag of frozen beans. I'm going to chuck the rest of these guys back in the freezer, and it's probably maybe 2.5 cups of frozen beans there that I'm going to use in our dinner. All right, other things that would go great in this as well, which I think I will throw in because I have them in the fridge. I'm going to dice up some of this baby spinach that needs to be used, and I have about a third of a red onion that I also need to use up. It has been in the fridge for a little while, so I think we'll dice a bit of that up as well and chuck that in. Over in my large pot over here in the back, I'm going to cook 1 cup of dry lentils, and I'm going to start by just picking over and checking the lentils first, making sure they're all good. Then I'm going to rinse these before I pop them in the pot, and I'm going to do a 1 cup of dry lentils to 3 cups of water. Okay, we're going to bring these to the boil and let them simmer for 25 minutes. This is going to take about 30 minutes in total. So while that is cooking, I'm going to start doing our vegetables. So in my large 3.5 litre fry pan / pan, I'm going to start by just cooking off our vegetables. I'm just going to add a little bit of water to the pan to help these cook. I don't cook with a lot of oil, so I'm just going to get these started. They're just going to cook and steam in the pan just a little bit while our lentils are still coming to the boil. The lentils over the back here have just come to the boil, so I've turned them down, and I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. That's when I want to start cooking the rice, so I have all of this ready at the same time. The rice takes about 15 minutes. Our lentils need 25 minutes to cook. So in the next 10 minutes, we're going to go ahead and get our veggies ready. So our carrots are already in here steaming away and cooking. They're doing quite nicely. And I'm going to go ahead and get our frozen beans in here as well. Not going to add any more water at this point. I'll pop the lid on and we'll let our veggies keep cooking. A great alternative for this recipe, if you wanted to, would be to actually cook the vegetables in the oven. You could roast them. They're going to take about 30 minutes. So you put them on at the same time as the lentils, so they're all going to cook together. I'm not going to get the oven going today. I am doing it all on the stovetop, but if you were to cook your vegetables in the oven, I just put them on a cookie tray on a sheet and put them in with maybe a little bit of spray oil. Put them in the oven at about 180 degrees, like I said, for 30 minutes, and they'll be ready when your lentils are. I've only got a couple of minutes left on the veggies, so I'm going to take the lid off that now and just cook off the last of that water and let them just brown in the pan just a little bit. I am going to have to play a little bit of musical pots here today, so what I'm going to do now is actually take these veggies out of this pan because I'm going to use this to cook my rice next. So our vegetables are just tender. They could still do with a little bit more cooking. They're holding together, but they are not raw, they are cooked through. I'm going to start on our rice. For our coconut rice, I do need to actually measure how much rice I have. I'm going to use the absorption method, so I do need to know how much I've got. I've got just shy of 2 cups here. And to cook this rice with the absorption method, I need a 1 cup to 1.5 liquid ratio. So I have a 400 ml tin of coconut milk. I'm going to start with that, and I'm going to add 1 more cup of water. That's going to take me up to 650. I think that's going to be quite close to what I need, but we will keep an eye on it and add a little bit extra liquid if we need to. The other thing I'm going to add is about 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. I'm going to start bringing this to the boil, just stirring in that brown sugar. I'm going to stir in our rice. I'm going to pop the lid on and just let that come to a boil, and then I'm going to turn it right down and let it simmer. I will keep an eye on it and just make sure it's not drying out too much, but basically I'm going to let this cook for another couple of minutes once it's come to the boil, and then I'm going to turn it off completely and just let it sit and do its own thing. I've just checked our lentils, so I'm turning these off now. They're cooked. So I'm going to get them off the heat and I'm going to strain them, and they're going to be ready to mix through our rice very shortly. Okay, our rice is looking pretty good. So I'm just going to go ahead and fluff that, make sure that it's absorbed all the liquid in there. And what I'm going to do is actually add a little bit of lime juice, which is a really nice touch. So a couple of squirts. Don't have a lot left in this bottle, so that's done. And I'm just going to mix that through. It's just a really nice addition. It sort of brightens it up a little bit, cuts through the coconut milk so that the grains separate a little bit. We're going to go ahead and mix in our lentils. I'm going to mix in some spinach that I've just roughly chopped. That's a couple of handfuls. And last of all, we're going to mix in those veggies. Alright, and there we go. That is a really big, full pot of coconut rice, lentils, lots of veggies. Should be enough, 6 serves. Let's get it dished up and get stuck into it. And there we go, we're all dished up. So I am just using the plates and bowls that I used during cooking tonight, which is why we're in different sized bowls, but they are all the same size serving. As you can see, I still have half left over for lunch tomorrow. This is a great recipe, hot or cold. You can dress it up with a little bit of sauce. Shane will probably put a bit of sriracha on his because I know that's what he likes to do, but there you go. That is our coconut rice and lentils with some carrots, green beans and spinach. Tonight's a very exciting night because we are attempting our first loaf of bread in the caravan oven. So I'm not terribly sure how this is going to go. I am trying a recipe that's been floating around for a while. I first saw Christine from Frugal Fit Mum do this recipe. Miranda from Flourishing Miranda has done it as well, probably a few other people I can't think of. It's a really super simple bread recipe, and we're going to give it a go and see what happens. I'm also going to start prepping some veggies and stuff to do some spaghetti bolognese for dinner, but give you guys an update on the bread, and hopefully we'll have some spag bowl for dinner as well. Alrighty, first loaf in the caravan. Oh, try not to go too fast, but I think that's a winner. And tonight's dinner is a very quick spaghetti bolognese. These are our 3 bowls dished up here. But I still have heaps left over here in the pot, so we'll put this aside for leftovers for tomorrow. And I've already put some extra sauce aside, just in a little container here that I'll stick in the fridge, possibly even in the freezer, that we can make yet another meal out of. So this was just a really quick basic sauce. I used half an onion that was in the fridge, carrot, the zucchini, the jar of passata sauce that I picked up this week, and the fettuccine. So quick and easy. Oh, and I threw in the TVP as a bit of a meat substitute, just to bulk that out a little bit. Yeah, but quick and easy, and on the table in about half an hour. Tonight for dinner I'm going to do our baked tofu with veggies. So I am going to make a sauce myself. It's sort of going to be a bit of a teriyaki sauce. I am missing 1 or 2 ingredients, but it's basically going to be soy sauce. I have garlic and ginger. Yes, they are wrapped in socks. That's so when they're in my fridge and they bump around on bumpy roads, they don't smash everywhere. But that is ginger and garlic. Going to throw in a little bit of honey, thicken it with a little bit of corn flour, and we're going to make a nice sweet sort of teriyaki sauce to go on the tofu. Obviously going to cook up some rice to go with it as well, and then we're going to just do some more carrots and beans, and I have some bits and pieces of onion left over here. 2 completely different types of onion. I don't care. I'm just going to slice it all up, and I'll use that up as well. And I think that might be everything that I'm going to do for dinner. I don't think I'm going to throw in any other veggies. It's pretty hot. I think we're just going to leave it at that. So I've prepped everything, chopped the carrots. Prepped everything. I've chopped the carrots and the little bit of red onion that I had. And then I've just pulled apart that big block of tofu. So that is all of the block of tofu. Somebody did recommend to me to try doing this instead of just cutting it with a knife, which I normally do, to try tearing it, and the sauce sticks to it a little bit better. We'll see how it goes. I've never done it before, and apologies, I can't remember who it actually was that said to try this, but thank you very much for the tip. We're going to give it a go. And yeah, we're going to make the sauce. Starting off by cooking off our veggies. I'll get the onions going first, and then I'll chuck the carrots in and give them a couple of minutes. I do have the rice on, so I've got 2 cups in here. Just doing the absorption method, so 2 cups of dry rice, 3 cups of water. I'm going to bring that to the boil, and then I'm going to turn it down, and then once I can't actually see any more water on top of this, I will then turn it off and just let it sit. Meanwhile, our tofu is sitting over here with a dusting of corn flour on it, and it is just absorbing that corn flour. And my rice over here at the back is bubbling over, so I'm just going to let a little bit of that out, turn that down, and that helps the sauce stick to it as well. Apparently, haven't tried it before, so like I said, this one is a new technique for us. Now that the veggies are finished, I'm going to start the sauce, which is loosely followed off a recipe that I've just found online for a teriyaki sauce. It is basically soy sauce, about half a cup of soy sauce with 1/4 cup of brown sugar. I've got 1.5 teaspoons of garlic in there, sorry. 1 teaspoon of ginger, tablespoon of honey, a little dash of sesame oil, and what I'm going to do is just bring this to the heat, but I'm also going to add in 1/4 cup of water with 3 teaspoons of corn flour, just to start thickening this up. Alrighty, sauce has thickened up nicely. Now we're going to get this tofu in. So ordinarily what would be great to do now would be coat this and then stick it in the oven, turning it into a baked tofu. But to be totally honest with you guys, I just don't think we've got the time for that tonight. We're all pretty hungry. It's pretty late already, so I'm going to cook this off in the pan. I'm going to chuck the veggies in on top, and we're going to call it a day. But what you should do, if you've got more time, is coat your tofu like this, and then pull it out, put it on a baking tray, and then put it in the oven for say 20 minutes. And this is dinner tonight, our teriyaki tofu with veggies. I've got green beans and carrots. So there are the 3 serves for tonight. But I still have half left over, which we will use for lunch tomorrow or dinner tomorrow, depending on what happens. So there's half of my tofu and veggies, and over here I've still got half of the rice. So another 6 serves for us, and looks pretty good. Dinner tonight is just going to be some really quick and easy loaded fries. So I'm going to slice up our potatoes, and I am going to cook them in the air fryer, and then we're just going to top them with the last of the very sad looking salad stuff that we've got. And I'm going to do some of the textured vegetable protein with some taco seasoning. There's a bit of a flavored mince just to go on top of our fries. And I don't know, I'll have a bit more of a look in the fridge and see what else we've got, but probably that's probably about it, to be honest. It's going to be pretty simple and straightforward, but also quick to get on the table for dinner tonight. So jump in and start chopping up these spuds. Quick little addition here, I have some frozen corn, which I did pick up in this week's shopping, that I've decided to chuck in, and a little bit of capsicum as well, which I've diced up. So I'm going to cook these veggies off, and I'm going to include that in with the textured vegetable protein as well. So more veggies are always good in my book, but just keeping you guys updated with all the things I'm finding to throw in dinner. Our first lot of chips finished in the air fryer, so this is just a little production line and everyone gets to build their own adventure. So in here I've got the TVP, some corn and some capsicum with a little bit of taco seasoning. I did throw a little bit of garlic in there as well. I probably could have thrown in an onion, but I didn't think of that. And then we'll just top it with whatever else we want. So I've got some diced up tomato, bit of sad looking avocado there that needs to be used, and I've just realized that I forgot to chop up the iceberg lettuce, so that's in here. Anyways, I'll go through and I'll pick out some of that still looks okay. It is on its last legs, it's starting to go a bit brown, but yeah, we dice that up and we put that on our nachos and our loaded fries and all those sorts of things as well. So I need to do that too. All right, and that's my one all plated up. I've got a little bit of everything. Nice, quick, easy dinner. I might actually chuck a little bit of hummus on, who knows. But yeah, dinner tonight. Loaded fries with whatever bits and pieces we had in the fridge that needs to be used up. Okay, so my big takeaways from week 1. My first big takeaway is definitely to be more prepared. So if you're going to be doing these extreme challenges and you're going to be cooking a lot of things from scratch at home, I think one of the best things that we can do is be prepared and put ourselves in a position where we make things easier during the week. So we had quite a busy week. We were out and about every day. It was pretty full on. So then having to etch out a little bit more time to be in the kitchen to cook things from scratch can be challenging. Now, we did it this week, but I've got to be honest, I don't want to have to do that for the next 3 weeks. So what I would like to do each weekend is just do a little bit of prep work that's going to set me up for the week ahead. And that's not something that I thought about going into this challenge. So this weekend, my goal is going to be to prep some dried beans that I've got. I didn't cook with dried beans this week because I just wasn't organized enough to soak the beans overnight and then cook them and then have them ready to go in whatever meals that I was cooking. So I'd like to get a big batch of beans prepped, so soaked and cooked and in the fridge or the freezer, ready to go when it's time to cook meals. That would be the first thing. The other thing that I want to do is think a little bit more strategically about snacks and lunches. So I'm going to try and get some things cooked and in, again, the fridge and the freezer this week to have as snacks. So some muffins or bake some more bread. The bread was great to have, but I only did it once, again, because I just need to be organized. And it's not hard. I mean, the bread basically does all the work itself. It's a great recipe. You just got to mix it together, but it's just a timing thing. So mixing it together in the morning, letting it rise all day, or doing it at night and letting it rise overnight and then cooking it the next morning. Either way you want to do it, but you need to allow yourself 12 hours to actually get it all together. And I just wasn't organized enough to do that, but I want to be more organized next week coming up. So more bread cooked from home, and again, the muffins and the snacks, just finding the time to be able to cook up a batch of muffins, which honestly takes half an hour, 45 minutes, if that. But making sure that I'm making time to do those things so that we have snacks that are ready to go. The other thing that I'm going to think a little bit more strategically about next week is going to be lunches. Now, we normally do a lot of leftovers for lunches, but one of the things that I usually do is a big cook up, usually at the start of the week or at some point, where I've got a lunch specific meal cooked, and that's just all it's for. It's just for lunches, and then we've got that in the fridge and it's ready to go on the days when we're out and about, and if plans change and things like that, we've got something that's ready to go. I don't have to constantly be thinking about, okay, I need to get home at this time because I've got, this meal that's going to take an hour or 2 hours to cook, and I need to make that because otherwise we won't have lunch for the next day. It all just starts to get a little bit complicated when you're relying on having leftovers from the night before for lunch the next day, and making sure that that is a meal that produces leftovers, because not everything we eat or have for dinner necessarily produces leftovers. So then you sort of end up in that situation of, well, what are we going to do for lunch if we don't have anything prepared and ready to go? So I think they're my main big takeaways from this week. I think we actually did really well. We stuck to our budget and we utilized the things that we had at home. Now, granted, this week we had a bit of a warm spell in the middle, which does make a difference. We weren't as hungry as what we normally are because it's hot. It is supposed to cool down next week, in which case I'm anticipating that we're actually going to eat more food. So again, that's why I want to be more organized and more prepared, because we'll be more hungry. So we'll be looking for things to eat, looking for snacks and whatnot in the upcoming week, I think is my prediction anyways. But overall, super happy with week 1. Mainly, we made it to the end and we didn't go and buy extra food, and that's the great thing. So we got through week 1 and I'm pretty excited about week 2. So if you'd like to see what we get up to for week 2 of our Frugal February challenge, then I will have a grocery haul and meal plan coming out on Wednesday. And again, we'll have a wrap up and looking at the meals that we cooked throughout the week on Sunday. So that's going to be the plan for February. I'm really super looking forward to it and seeing how it all goes, particularly as we start moving towards the end of the month. See if things get easier or more difficult, see how much we're left over with each week, and whether or not we can just sort of keep that ticking over our little pantry supplies so that I can spend $50 one week but pick up some things that are going to roll over for the next week or perhaps the week after. Who knows? It's an adventure. Let's see where it takes us. All right, guys, I hope you are having a fantastic week. I hope you enjoyed today's video. As always, if you did, if you could please give it a thumbs up. I really do appreciate that. Lets me know the kind of content you guys are enjoying and what you'd like to see more of. And if you'd like to see more stuff like this and you haven't already, then now would be a great time to go and hit that little subscribe button. It is the best way to stay up to date with everything that's happening around our place. And if you go and tick that little notification bell, you'll be notified when my new videos come out. Well, hopefully you guys have had a great start to Frugal February. If you are joining us as well, I hope that you are. Let me know in the comments if you're joining us for Frugal February, and if you're going to try and rein in that grocery budget a little bit and just save some dollars. Let me know how you went. I'd love to hear from you guys, so let me know in the comments. And I look forward to catching up with you guys again on Wednesday when we hit week 2 with a new grocery haul and meal plan. All right, until then, take care, my friends. Bye.